Welcome to EnfinityCast. Have you ever reached the end of a long day, faced with a simple choice like what to watch on TV, and found yourself completely unable to decide? Or maybe you just grab the first snack you see, even if it's not what you really want. It's not a lack of willpower, it's a real cognitive phenomenon known as decision fatigue. And today, we're going to explore what that is. I'm your host, June Halden, and I'm joined by the ever-insightful Solene Vox.
Thanks for having me, June. It's such a relatable topic. I think everyone has experienced that feeling of just being done with making choices. It's the reason why, after a day of meetings, I might spend an hour scrolling through a food delivery app only to order the same thing I always do. The core idea is that our capacity for making sound, rational decisions is a finite resource, like a muscle that gets tired with overuse.
Exactly. And there's some fascinating science to back this up. One of the most famous studies looked at judges making parole decisions. They found that judges were significantly more likely to grant parole at the beginning of the day or right after a food break than they were at the end of a long session. As their cognitive load increased with each case, they defaulted to the easier, safer choice, which was to deny parole.
That's a powerful example of how high stakes this can be. But it happens to us in smaller ways all day long. That cognitive load you mentioned isn't just from big, stressful decisions. It's the accumulation of tiny choices. Should I answer this email now or later? What should I wear today? Coffee or tea? Each one takes a small sip from our mental energy reserves.
And when that reserve is low, our productivity really takes a hit. We tend to do one of two things. We either make impulsive choices, because thinking through the consequences is too tiring, or we fall into analysis paralysis. We avoid making the decision altogether. That big project you keep putting off. It might not be laziness, but the fact that you've already exhausted your decision-making power on 100 other things that day.
So what can we do about it? It's not like we can just stop making decisions. The key is to be more intentional about them. One of the most effective strategies is to front-load your day. Tackle your most important, thought-intensive decisions in the morning when your cognitive reserve is at its highest.
I love that. Another great tip is to automate the small stuff. This is why people like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg famously wore the same outfit every day. It was one less decision to make. We can apply this by meal prepping for the week, creating a consistent morning routine, or setting rules for ourselves, like I only check emails at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. It frees up so much mental space.
It really does. And I think the most important takeaway is to be kind to yourself. Understanding the science of decision fatigue allows us to see that this is a biological constraint, not a personal failing. If you feel drained and unproductive at 4 p.m., it's not because you're undisciplined. It's because your brain has been working hard all day. Maybe that's the perfect time for a walk or a simple, repetitive task, not for a major strategic decision.
A wonderful point to end on, Solene. It's about conserving our energy for the choices that truly shape our lives. Thank you so much for your insights today.
My pleasure, June.
And thank you for listening to EnfinityCast. This week, maybe think about one small recurring decision you can put on autopilot. You might be surprised at how much lighter you feel.